Hi everyone, this is Killshot 99 Gaming. This is Fear the Walking Dead, Season 5, Episode 14, live fan reactions. First and foremost, I want to say hi to each and every one of you. It's been a nice week, nice relaxing week, getting ready to come back, hang out with all you guys. Looking forward to talking about tonight's show. Before we get started, I do want to give a special shout out to all the Patreons. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. We're going to jump right into it tonight. We didn't have a countdown stream tonight, but I did want to ask you guys, I guess first, let's get some ratings out there. We're not going to completely break this show down. We're going to give our raw reactions tomorrow night. We will do a extended breakdown of it. What's going on? Good to see everybody. I missed each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Good to be back. E-Beach super chatting at our already. Good night. Good evening to the Army. I got a lot of things going on. A generous 5. So 6.6, 6.5. Angel gives it a 7. Viola gives it an 8. What's going on, Ocean Man? Good to see all of you guys. So a lot of low scores tonight. You guys giving it low scores because it's episode 14 and we expected a little bit more, or just because we haven't broken it down yet? Okay, there's some good scores. Heart of Nixie, 8.6. Fearless gives it an 8. Tracy Bledsoe, 4. Didn't care for it. 8 is generous. Valerie gives it a 10. All right, so we're all over the place. I'm going to start out with a 7.5. And I'll tell you why I'm going to give it a 7.5, but I do reserve the right to increase it a little bit. That is going to be the low end of my spectrum as we go through. All right, we did not quite see the death of Grace yet. Now, this scene is something that we predicted a couple weeks ago. We said Morgan would leave, he'd have some guilt, he'd come back, and Grace would be on her deathbed. It looked like that was going to happen, but from the preview, we saw that Grace is going to be around next week. Now, next week, she looks a little bit crazy. Chris Raining said because they sing better than kill. I'm going to disagree. I'm going to respectfully disagree, Chris. I think they did a good job, but I am partial to my own singing. I think I would have nailed it. So we did at least, maybe what we called was a little too predictable, Julia, and that's why they changed it up a little bit. So tonight's Fear the Walking Dead coincidence. I'm going to give away our first Kills coin of this week. If you can tell me the most convenient coincidental thing from tonight's episode. There was something major that happened early on. And Kel, if you can get the ledger ready, let's see who can get this right. And then I'll give yeah, exactly. 2 hands and a radio. Absolutely got it right. The horse fogged up the window. The horse fogging up the window so the guy right beside the car could not see in. That was it was great. But every week there's something that we've kind of gotten used to. And then, of course, like all movies, he kind of gets called away. That's a good point. I guess it's hot in Texas, so the horse's breath would have to be cold in order to fog up the window. I don't know about that one. Anyway, it worked out. So there was a slight battle scene of the records. The records led to the slipping of the records, which led to the singing. And I'm sure there's going to be a little bit more with that. But at least they're not telling super long, drawn-out stories. Like tonight, we meet Tom, and it is cool, though, that Tom is a part of Jenny's group. Earlier in the season, when we'd meet somebody, it's like, well, this is story A, this is story B, this is story C. Now they're all connected. And I know Will the Bill said this last week. Did Jenny not remind you guys a little bit more of Negan? When she kicked her feet back, stuck her fingers in the jam and just started, everything was casual, right? I certainly saw some more Negan traits in that scene. And she just has some real smug looks on her face. Like, she's helping, but she's not really helping. She smiles at them, but how many people notice, like, she was smiling and she's like, hey, we got your stick, we got this. And as soon as they turn around, she gets this real nasty look on her face. Did anybody notice that? Gouche, super chatting, and thank you so much, Gouche. Hello, 99 Army and Kills. Hope everyone is fine. Absolutely fine. What a great week. Good relaxing week. Just trying to get back into live stream mode. So should be back to 100% by tomorrow. I think I'm like half vacation, half back to work. But she's got this dude locked in the closet. So anything strange about the guy locked in the closet? What did you guys think about that? I've got my opinion on it. So this is a group that likes to kill walkers and drag them away, right? I mean, we saw that over and over again. So why would they have a walker on premise? Darkstar, I don't think it's a trap because you could hear the walker from the outside. I feel like that was either a punishment or a torture or something. That's how you know she's got a real twisted side to her. With Logan, they shot Logan, and they're giving her like this villain, not quite, maybe there's a little hope, a little bit of redemption, villain, maybe a little hope. So she's showing both sides, and when I see something like that, I just think that her psychology is to recruit and then to make you do what she says. And she even said that. I mean, didn't she play that hand last week with Luciana? Where she offered the whole group the chance to be a part of them, and as soon as they said no, she's like, oh, well, you just became a whole lot less important. We only kill when it's a necessity, but you're not going to do what I say. So she definitely is a dictator. I certainly think we're in store for a lot in 15 and 16. Okay, we've given the scores. Now I want just pick something from tonight's episode that really shocked you or surprised you, or is that why the scores were a little low? Maybe there wasn't a whole lot that shocked you or surprised you. Because it was a pretty straightforward episode tonight. I think it was important, but I also think it was no major happening. The guitar was in tune. The pool water was clean. So, Hippo is using the term filler. And I've kind of made this distinction in the past, Hippo, and I think, to me, there's a difference between a filler episode and a transitional episode. And filler is usually something right in the middle of the season that they just couldn't think of anything else and it tells a different story. I didn't see that with this tonight. I saw it once again as a transition to teach us a little bit more about the pioneers, the settlers, whatever we're going to call them, about Jenny's group, to bring Morgan's guilt full circle. So here's what I'll say with Morgan. He can't go back. I'm going to, as a fan, I'm going to say, you know what? I accept his relationship with Grace. I accept that it happened this way. I accept he's been doing the videos. But he can't go back again. This has to be the closing moment. He said it was, so I got to take him at his word, and I hope the writers don't send him back to a dark place all over again. Also, did anyone get a Daniel's about to get pissed vibe when Grace first told him that the oil was taken and the quarry was compromised? He got this look on his face like old school Daniel's about to come back. I kind of got that feeling just for a moment, and maybe it was subtle, but this is something that we touched on a couple weeks ago as well, is our group has a bad dude in Morgan, a bad dude in Daniel, and Dwight. John Dory is not a bad dude, and I still think that the June death is in play. Not just because I have a side wager on it. And it may not happen this season. I could be wrong about that. But I still think the June death is in play to force John Dory to be a different type of character. And I also don't think that Jenny's group is going anytime soon. Warmaker, I don't hate June. I just don't really care for June. Not since the Laura, Naomi. I'm glad she found love, and I'm glad she turned it all around because everybody gets that opportunity. But she was certainly sneaky in the beginning with Madison and Nick and the whole group. But Jenny's group has roots that are too deep. There's only one way that I see Jenny's group leaving. So, E-Beach John Dory is Anakin Skywalker. That might be a little bit of a stretch. But I certainly think that we got some badness on the horizon. So one thing I did write down from tonight's episode is it's almost as if we have three groups, and each group builds on the next group. So you've got the real primitive group is Morgan's group, right? Think about, let's juxtapose all three. Morgan's group is out there giving out boxes, and they think that's the future. Jenny's group is building a community, a bigger community. And they're trying to get some oil, and they got some small inventory, and they're taking over a few areas. I think you guys saw like the super lanes on the map. So they got a bowling alley, they got a condo, a few small communities. So that's the next layer of their evolution. And at the top of the food chain, we got CRM. That's the helicopters. So it was a little bit surprising to me that Al talked about CRM. And then Al had the conversation with Jenny and said, I'm an open book. Now, maybe she is, maybe she isn't. I think she's still holding back a little bit. But I would be shocked if Jenny is in charge of anything other than these small little groups. What's a little bit confusing, though, is whether or not the pioneers report to CRM. So, the only way, and I don't think Fear the Walking Dead will do this. The only way I see Jenny's group leaving this season is if CRM gets wind of them and takes them out. Just like helicopters, guns a-blazing, just mows them all down. Now, if they do that, it would be the biggest waste of villains since the Vultures. I don't think it'll happen that way, but I would not put anything past Fear the Walking Dead. I mean, we saw Logan basically get smoked, and Logan became nothing. Now, I don't think turnabout is fair play in Jenny's group. I don't think that will happen either, Joey, which is why I wanted to bring that up. Because if that's not going to happen, then what this means is we have 2 episodes left. It means that they're going to further develop the pioneers, and season 6 is going to be our group versus the pioneers. Which also means we're going to have a cliffhanger of some sort. So, this is just a straight reaction video, and we'll certainly do our bold predictions this week. We got a lot of bold predictions to get to. But I do want to ask the group right now. Well, Joey, there's no way this can't be a cliffhanger. The pioneers are not developed far enough that this can be an ending. So there's got to be something that we're going to be curious about going into next season. So what do you guys think is going to be Fear the Walking Dead's season finale cliffhanger? Where do you think they're going to leave the show? Morgan and Al leave with no death, says Emmy. Viola says the death of June. Alicia death. Finding a new home. I don't know, Joey. There's nothing about next week's episode that looks like they're close to finding a home. In fact, it looks like they're about to lose everything. I don't see that story going away and cleaning itself up in 2 episodes. You know, Samantha, Grace's death wouldn't be a big deal because we're expecting it. And certainly she's making it to 15. We thought she was going to be dead around 9 or 10. But boy, she's legging it out. So we got a lot of death predictions. I would go out on a limb here and say I would not be surprised if it was a lineup type of scene. You know, not Lucille, not Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, but something to sort of keep us on edge and wonder which character or which characters. And I don't know if their MO is necessarily to shock us all the time, but a shock every once in a while would be good for business. Firing squad. Somebody connected. I do think at the end we're going to get some hint of CRM. But looking at this lady up on the screen, I don't think she's one to be toyed with. So I certainly feel like there's a few questions we still have to have answered. Here's some potential cliffhangers. We find out something, don't know what it is, but we get some type of Sherry story. Dwight has been following Sherry the whole time. So that's got to be told. I don't think we can let that go till season 6. I think there has to be some information on Sherry. Now, what would be super, super awesome is if Sherry is a pioneer and Sherry kills June. That would be epic. Wouldn't that create some controversy? Like, you got John and Dwight, they're literally best friends. And if Sherry's a pioneer and gunned down June, then we got a story. Then we got a story for next season. Yeah, that's the way I would write it. Because then you don't know what's going to happen with Dwight and John next season. Well, we're going to get some pretty good breakdowns of this. I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay with the 7.5 to 8.0 range. I didn't do backflips when I saw it. I didn't think it was terrible. A couple of weeks ago, it was bad. I don't think this was the type of episode that's going to drop them back under 1 million. Because here's a couple bullet points that we got. And if you're still a 4, you're still a 5, I get it. I'm not trying to change your mind, but I do want to point out just a couple cool things from tonight's episode. Number 1, the horse breathing on the window. It's something that only Fear the Walking Dead can do. They give us these silly coincidences every week, and we've seen it so many times. It's intentional. It's not bad writing. It is something that they just do to humor us. I'm convinced of it because it happens every single week. I for one, appreciate it. It's almost like finding an Easter egg every week. You know how everybody wants to find, like, well, what's Easter egg? What did it mean? This is a callback to The Walking Dead. Well, this is like Fear of the Walking Dead's own version of their Easter egg. They do it every single week. It's like there's no way it can happen, and they just force feed it to us. So as long as they keep doing that, I'm cool with it. The Tom Janice story, it led us to a place. You know, we had to see that they've got a couple strongholds. I really think that they did that for a few reasons. We need to see the startup level of the Pioneers. We also needed to see the map. We needed to understand there's a disconnect between CRM and the Pioneers. I think that was intentional. They could very possibly bring closure to CRM with Althea looking for Isabel. She's not there. She's gone and going and tell the Rick story. And now we've got something with a little less firepower that we have to worry about. The taking the records and the records slipping, that was coincidental too. That seemed a little rushed. If there's a critique with tonight's episode, maybe it was the albums fell out of his hand and happened to slip and trip on the walkers, and they didn't have the albums and they sung a song. I probably could have done without that. The pool scene, I thought the pool scene was clever. Morgan jumped in like Poseidon. I did like the one-offs with Jenny coming in. Jenny is very charismatic like Negan. And once again, they did kind of draw that parallel. And that's why I kept it as 7.5. This episode didn't, it was, I could watch it twice and it wouldn't kill me to watch it twice. 2 weeks ago, I could not have said the same thing. So I'm gonna stay with a little bit above average, not quite good, certainly not great. But it didn't do anything to not make me want to watch the last 2 episodes. I still think there's going to be a lot of action. I think there's going to be a lot of deceit. In fact, how many people thought that Jenny's character took an additional turn tonight toward getting a little bit more evil? How many people saw a little bit more of an element of evil with her? I know we assumed that last week. But up to last week, all she really did was kill Logan and offer them a deal. Tonight, she threw her feet up on the table. She had somebody locked in a closet. She got these kind of behind your back looks like, no, we are the future. So, for that alone, I would say it's entertainment value, or at least pushing the story along. Because look, you can't build a house without a foundation. You can't just, and I know some of you are saying, well, okay, Negan's introduction, but before we ever met Negan, number one, he was in a comic and almost everybody knew who he was and what he was there to do. But even prior to that, you knew what his philosophies were and his, how he was oppressing the Hilltop and other groups and sending henchmen out and doing all of those things. So you knew all of those things about him. With Jenny, we didn't know anything about her, so it takes a little bit of time to sort of establish that what she's capable of doing mode. And we saw her right from the start. She rode up, gunned down Logan. Now, she sold it off as, I'm the good guy. But I think after 2 episodes, I'm getting a pretty good feel about what she can do. Now, next week, she's got they're running out of food, and maybe she's starving them out. I don't know what all she's doing. But she did say something about, don't question my methods in the trailer for next week. So I think this is going to be the next real brick in the wall for her, is we're going to get a little bit more evil. And then by the time we get to 16 is when she's really going to establish it to carry it over for next season. So I think 4 episodes under our belt, we're going to get a good idea. And if she takes out somebody we like, that's certainly going to, catapult her up on the evil scale. And we asked this last week. The recap we did last Monday night, one of the questions I asked you is, who would Jenny have to kill to really set you off and make you hate her? And I still think that's in play. Right, Lynn, I feel like she is going to snap. She tried to be nice, according to her. She tried to say, hey, join, and they shunned her a couple times. Now they become less and less important. So now she's going to have to make an example. So in closing, everybody, start to think about that. We'll talk about this episode tomorrow night. We'll do a complete recap. Maybe we'll change our scores a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. I want to thank each and every one of you for being patient the last few days. I know we weren't streaming. We are back in full effect. We will be here all week long. Come hang out with us tomorrow night at 9:30. Everybody here, do me a big favor. We got several hundred people that have been in the stream. If everybody can hit that like button. If you like what we do, if you're a part of the 999 Army, I just want to say special thank you to the Patreons up in the top left-hand corner, the channel members, thank you, Super Chatters, the moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells. I am ready to finish out Fear the Walking Dead, and we're only a couple of weeks away from The Walking Dead as well. So really, we got a action-packed fall, full steam ahead. Thanks, everybody. I'll talk to you all at 9:30 tomorrow night. Look forward to seeing you then. Peace.